Space, the stars and the night sky have fascinated kids and adults for millennia, and becoming an astronaut has been a dream of kids around the world. I am joined in the studio now by Katherine Bennell Pegg, the first Australian female astronaut, and Kirsten Banks, an astrophysicist and science communicator. Katherine and Kirsten, welcome to the South by Southwest Sydney Studio.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Brilliant to have you here. Katherine, you probably get asked this question a lot, but did you always want to be an astronaut?
I'm the cliche. I always wanted to be an astronaut. It's the combination of a childhood dream come true, but also a combination with my more adult dream to help grow the Australian space sector as well.
Amazing. And do you remember the moment that it sort of struck you as a child?
I remember I used to love lying on the grass, getting bindies up the back of my shirt, staring at the night sky above me. And we have a beautiful night sky here in Australia. And I grew up on the northern beaches of Sydney where the sky felt full of stars.
Absolutely. And Kirsten, what about you? What inspired you to become an astrophysicist?
For me, it was seeing a documentary about the Hubble Space Telescope that my science teachers, also from the Northern Beaches,
Amazing,
took my whole year group to go see it. And I remember seeing this one particular scene that stuck with me. It's a virtual fly-through of the Orion Nebula. It's this big cloud of dust and gas that births stars. Mm-hmm. And you just fly through these pockets of nebulae dust where a star is being born. And I was just like, that stuff is so cool. I want to do that.
Amazing. That's so amazing. And to have that moment of inspiration and follow it through is something to be really proud of, by the way. I think it's extraordinary. You were both on a session together entitled Space, How Moments Create a Movement. What are these moments?
So I was talking about how space has the ability to capture us all in singular moments that have shifted the whole of society's perspective. So you've got the sound of Sputnik, the first object to go into space. You've got, the first object to orbit the Earth. You've got the Earthrise photo, which sparked the environmental movement. You've got the footstep on the moon, the first footstep of humanity on another body. And, that they all shifted what it means to be human, the way our society's moved, and there's not been a period in culture since that hasn't been influenced by space. But it's been a long time since we've had a moment that created a movement from space. Space has become normal and a bit hidden. And so I was posing to the audience, what will the next moment be? And I think that next moment will be when humanity's on the moon permanently.
Amazing.
And that's coming through Artemis. That's
incredible. I think it takes me back to when I was in, high school and in the late 80s, and they said, plan what will happen in the year 2000, and we were doing that. We were living on other planets in our minds. Do you feel that imagination and that constant, what if is so important in your fields?
Oh, without a doubt. Curiosity and creativity are so pivotal in all aspects of life, and especially science as well, because we're constantly thinking up new ideas and trying to find new patterns in the data that we collect from the entire universe to figure it all out. And we're constantly asking more and more questions. That creativity really makes a difference in that area.
Absolutely. And after your session today, what's one of the takeaways that you hope attendees leave with?
For me, I hope it's that people realise that there is a space renaissance coming and that they can be part of it no matter what their field is, even if it's not a technical field. And I hope that they can take the inspiration of space to raise their own aspirations for their future. We're all capable of far more than we can imagine ourselves to be capable of, because if you have the courage to aspire, you get the courage to ask the big questions and the drive to help answer them, and our society needs to do that in so many areas to progress.
Absolutely. And Kirsten, I'd like to ask you if you could please tell me just a little bit about the cultural importance of the constellations to the First Nations people of Australia.
Absolutely. First Nations people of Australia, we were the first astronomers of this land, the first scientists and the first innovators. And that's a lot of what South by Southwest Sydney is about, is that tech and innovation. And to have that foundation that we're standing on and meeting on the lands of the Gadigal people here in Sydney, it's a great footstep forward to be like, wow, we have a lot of history in this land, cultural history. And you see that in the stars as well. When you look up to the stars, you see not just constellations and pictures, but you have stories, and there are lessons through those stories as well. My personal favorite is the dark emu, which is actually not made of stars. It's made of the dark parts of the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay.
It's an incredible constellation. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's the best. But its position in the night sky indicates to us when is the right time to go looking for emu eggs. And so there's that innovation of a seasonal menu with the night sky and using that perception of the universe around you to connect to your more local universe around you as well.
Incredible. And what role do you see South by Southwest playing in shaping the future of space technology?
Well, space ultimately is just a place, and it's a place that is a home for so many technologies that develop in synergy with space. And so being here, having the opportunity to speak to and mix with so many different creatives and innovators, it's an opportunity to see things we couldn't see otherwise and to have, more ideas sparked. So it's exciting to be here and inspiring.
Incredible. And you both mentioned the influence of a teacher in your younger years, sort of inspiring something in you. How is it that we can get more women into STEM areas?
I think one of the things, while we had the similarity of a teacher and of our education, we also had the similarity of there weren't many women in our positions that we're in now to look forward to and aspire towards. Whereas these days, we do. Like, we exist. We're here. And so showing young girls and young women that they can do this. They can become an astronaut for Australia. They can be an astrophysicist and study the entire universe. That is so impactful to seeing what you can be and understanding that those opportunities are out there, because you can just do it. You can do whatever you want to do if you go and strive for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really, STEM and space are for everyone, and we need all kinds of thinkers and all kinds of doers to be able to discover and to be able to solve problems. And, my message to young people out there is, if you're interested in pursuing a STEM career, you should do it even if you don't think you fit the stereotype. I certainly didn't fit the stereotype of an engineer. When I started uni, I'd never written a line of code. I'd never used a drill, but I learned to get along with it, and I really fell in love with the field because of what I could do with it through space, that purpose-driven mindset. And, for me in my astronaut class, the hoppers and my patches on my right shoulder, there were 6 of us, 3 of us were women, 3 of us are men, and that wasn't by design. It's how it came out. And 13% of people that have been to space only have been women. And that's changing now as society's changing. And that's important, not just because all young people should have the chance to dream to be an astronaut or because more diverse teams are more productive and better and more robust teams, but because in space we're medical guinea pigs, right? And a lot of medical research is gendered, things like osteoporosis. So until we have more diversity in space, all of the different people on Earth don't take full benefit from space. So looking forward to a more diverse future up there as well as here on Earth.
Absolutely. And how do you think South by Southwest Sydney can change the trajectory of someone's career or business?
Well, there's so much diversity here at the festival that people can come in and see, wow, my kid can do that, or I can do that and have a career change, or even just... I saw some high school kids here today that came to your session, or our session. And it was just incredible to see that they have all of this in front of them as inspiration to then have that spark. Yeah. So it can be just a moment like that does spark things.
That's right.
Sets them on the trajectory to do amazing things.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke in my talk about how 50 years ago, people walking on the moon, they couldn't have imagined the world we'd have today, the kind of tech we'd have today. They didn't even have the internet, right? Let alone Instagram. But if we were to project forward 50 years from now, how can we imagine that world? Well, in 50 years from now, the kids like those that came to the talk today, they will still be in the workforce. How can they say what they want to be when we don't know what the world will be like? I think that they can think about what their purpose and their contribution might like to be, and then find their own path there. And I think that's a more interesting way to frame it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you both had a love for something that you've turned into, a career. So just even if they have that little spark of inspiration, holding on to that can be enough to drive you further, and also to see people in the roles that you both are. Sometimes people don't know they want it till they see it, and you're both an excellent example of where young women can go. So it's brilliant. I'm very impressed. So, Katherine, can you share some of the challenges that you faced during your astronaut training? I can't even imagine what it was like. Could you tell us some of the things that sort of, you found challenging and how you overcame them?
Well, astronaut training was wonderful. It was incredibly intense and hard work, but sometimes, hard work is the most enjoyable thing.
Yeah.
For me, I found one of the hardest things being the ability to pace myself. We had over 300 instructors in a year, right? Every instructor was like a world leader in their field. They'd hunt down any questions we wanted answered. And for me, like someone that's curious, like my classmates that were curious, how do you say stop and go home at the end of the day and take a breath and prepare for the next class? That was hard, that pacing pace, but that's something we have to learn so that we pace ourselves in space too, where when you're up there for many months, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, incredible. And I have a question now for both of you. If you could get a message out to young people in particular in regards to the future, because for a lot of us, we're all a bit scared of technology and we're a bit scared of the way the world might be going. What's one piece of advice you can give young people about how technology can be advantageous to them as opposed to a barrier or an obstacle?
I think my message to young people, other than follow your dreams and do it because there's nothing that can stop you, is to also have a good community of people around you to support you and to be able to lean on in those times. But when it comes to technology, I think being on the forefront of seeing new tech coming out and seeing how you can use it to make your career path more efficient and make the mundane easier. I use ChatGPT to answer emails all the time.
Oh, do you?
It's great.
You really?
Even just trying to get my ideas out of my head, like, I want to talk about this, and this for something. Help me make it sound like it came out of an actual human being.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely ways that you can be on the forefront of technology and trying to understand it so that it's less scary.
Yeah, and I think that often is a barrier for people. They say they don't like something purely because they don't understand it.
Which is, I fully get that.
Yeah, it's human nature, isn't it?
Nature.
I mean, technology ultimately is a tool and it can be used for almost any purpose, and so people should look for the uses that would be of benefit to what they're trying to achieve or trying to do, but also read widely, read science magazines, and sometimes you start connecting dots other people haven't seen. I remember early in my career I was reading a lot of science magazines and I was able to propose a lot of new innovation ideas that were funded inside the companies I worked at, and even as someone that's quite junior, you can add value. I think a lot of young people think that everything's been discovered, everything's been solved. I think I kind of did when I was growing up. Every problem solved in the back of a textbook it's solved, but actually no, not at all. There is so much to discover, there's so much to learn, and even young people today are making great impacts using technology because they're closer to it than people that are a bit older.
Like myself, yes.
Yeah, I had Instagram training on astronaut training, and I can tell you we're all like, we're in our 30s. I don't know about this one. But
I remember I go back to high school when you had one computer that the entire year had to type in a program that took you 30 minutes, and if you typed in one wrong thing, the ping pong ball didn't bounce, and that was it. That was just that's all we got as far as computer training was concerned. So it's great to see younger people, like I have younger nephews who now they could tell me how to do everything technology based. It's incredible, and that just means that there's more than likely more people that will enter your field, which is a really, really positive thing. Thank you both so much for joining me here today at the South by Southwest Sydney Studio. Katherine and Kirsten, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can watch more of these videos at youtube.com/South by Southwest Sydney.